Hello everyone, so I am Rhea May S. Morales and I am the little teacher of Study Hub number 2 and my co-members are we have Miss Angel Ancheta, Miss Janelle Caberte, Miss Sarah Michelle Arado, and Miss Antoinette Bansal. So we will explain to you the lesson 5 or the topic 5 which is all about the lesson plans. So, welcome educators in the dynamic world of teaching, effective classroom management, and engaging lessons are paramount. But amidst the whirlwind of activity, how do you ensure every minute counts? The answer lies in the power of a well structured lesson plan. This isn't just about creating a to do list, it's about creating a crafting a strategic roadmap for a successful learning journey for both you and your students. Today, we will explore the essential elements and characteristics of effective lesson plans, empowering you to create dynamic and engaging learning experiences. Think of a lesson plan as a strategic plan for your classroom. Effective lesson plans ensure every minute is used productively, focusing on teaching new concepts and fostering meaningful discussions. Instead of improvising on the fly, a well structured lesson plan allows for a smooth, engaging learning experience. So the most effective lesson plans have six key components. So we have first the lesson objectives. So what specific skills or knowledge will students gain? So that's what you put in lesson objectives. Next, for number 2, we have related requirements. So here in related requirements, what materials, resources, or prior knowledge are needed? And third, the number 3, so lesson materials. So what handouts, technology, or tools will be used? And number 4, we have the lesson procedure, a step-by-step guide to the lesson's activities and timing. And number 5, we have the assessment method. So how will student understanding be measured? Quizzes, projects, and discussions. And lastly, for number 6, lesson reflection. So here, time for the teacher to analyze what worked, what didn't, and how to improve future lessons. But a good lesson plan goes beyond these 6 elements. 5 key characteristics define an effective lesson plan. So first, we have that builds upon prior knowledge, connect new information to what students already know. Number 2, allows for flexibility. Be prepared to adapt to students' needs and interests. And number 3, clarifies transitions, smoothly move between activities to maintain engagement. Number 4, allots time for student involvement. So provide opportunities for active participation of all the students. And number 5, prompts teachers to reflect. Regular reflection leads to continuous improvement. So by carefully planning each aspect of your lesson, you create a learning environment that is engaging, effective, and rewarding for both you and your students. Remember, a well-crafted lesson plan is your key to unlocking successful teaching. So that's all. So next, let's hear it for Miss Angel Ancheta to explain more.
Good day everyone, this is Angel Bernadette Ancheta, and for today, we will be learning about instructional learning processes. Okay, so lesson objectives. Effective teaching starts with a clear plan, and a crucial element of the plan is defining your lesson objectives or your learning objectives. Okay, so but what exactly are learning objectives and why are they so important? Okay, so learning objectives are specific statements that describe what students will be able to do after completing a lesson. They're not just about memorizing facts, they're about developing skills and understanding. They act as a roadmap guiding both the teacher and the students towards successful learning. It can feel overwhelming to pin down specific takeaways for a lesson, but you can break the process into steps to do it in a breeze. First, it's best to view your lesson objectives as goals for your class and students. One of the most popular goal setting strategies is the SMART criteria, which ensures goals are focused. In the context of lesson planning, you can use SMART criteria to determine your lesson objectives. Okay, so creating effective learning objectives can be simplified using the SMART criteria. Okay, so let's break it down. Is the object specific? No? The object should be clear and unambiguous. Avoid vague terms. Instead of understand photosynthesis, try explain the process of photosynthesis using at least 3 terms. Okay? So, is the object measurable? How will you know if the object has been achieved? Will students answer questions, complete a project, or take a test? Is the object attainable by all students? The objective should be challenging yet achievable for all students, considering their diverse learning styles and abilities. Okay? So, is the object relevant to your class and student? The object should directly relate to the lesson's content and the overall curriculum goals. Or is your object time-bound to align with your syllabus? The object should be achievable within the allocated lesson time. Okay, so for each objective, it's important to start with an action that relates to what students should be able to do after the lesson, depending on what topic you're teaching and the level of knowledge your students have. These actions will vary. Okay, so for example, when teaching brand new concepts, you may define actions like define, identify, explain, and determine. When creating your lesson objectives, keep in mind that it's easier to measure students' success when you have specific goals. Okay, so once you put your lesson objectives together, it's time to tie them in with the next part of your lesson plan, the related requirements. Okay, so action verbs are key to writing effective objectives, as I've mentioned earlier. Instead of simply stating learn about fractions, you can use action verbs like calculate, compare, solve, or estimate. The choice of a verb will depend on the complexity of the lesson and the student's prior knowledge. Okay? So well-defined learning objectives make assessment much easier. They provide a clear benchmark to measure students' progress and success. They also ensure that teaching and learning are aligned, maximizing effectiveness. Okay, so in conclusion, learning objectives are the cornerstone of effective instruction. By using the SMART criteria and focusing on action verbs, teachers can create a clear path to successful learning for all students. Okay? So I hope you have learned something. Let's learn new concepts from the next reporter. Have a good day.
Hello everyone, I am Jamal Kaberda from ESLAD English 1. So now we're going to tackle about the teaching content. So what is teaching content? Teaching content, it refers to the specific information, skills, and concepts you plan to teach in a lesson. And so basically it is the core of your lesson plan. detailed breakdown of what you will cover. So here are the key concepts. These are the main ideas or topic you will focus on. Think of them as the main ingredients of your learning experience. So think of it as a main ingredients for your learning experience usually. So skills. Now skills for teaching. Skills, list them out. These are the actions your audience or your learners will learn to perform. Examples of this. These are real-world illustrations or scenarios that help explain the concepts or skills. Okay, think of this as a taste test to help people understand the main flavors of your dish. Do you get it? Think of it as a taste test to help people understand the main flavors of your dish. Now, so that is the skills. You will list them out. These are the actions your audience will learn to perform. It's like teaching your students. So imagine of it as a taste test so that you will help them to understand the main flavors of your dish. You need to understand. So that's the skills. Next we have activities. So here in activities, these are the interactive exercises. Interactive activities are tasks that help people practice what they are learning. So think of this as hands-on experiences where people can apply what they have learned. So that's all for the content.
Good day everyone, I'm Sarah Michelle Arado and tonight we're going to tackle or discuss my topic about lesson planning. But before that, let us first recap of what Ms. Caberte have discussed in her own video presentation. So her topic is all about teaching content, which is defines what constitutes the teaching content within a lesson plan. So it emphasizes that this content is a curriculum delivered and explored throughout the lesson. The section highlights the importance of integrating lesson learning activities that actively engage students. Crucially, it stresses the role of assessment, both formal and informal, in determining whether the lesson objective were met. So, SMART indicators are mentioned as a tool for gauging the effectiveness of the content in achieving the learning objectives. So now that I'm done telling all of you what Ms. Caberte have discussed, let's proceed with my own topic, which is all about lesson planning. So, evaluation or assessment. Planning for lesson is a process that involves 3 stages. First, we have pre-planning. So, pre-planning before writing the plan. At this stage, you think about what to include in the lesson, selecting resources while considering the lesson objectives and student needs. So, pre-planning before writing the lesson plan, consider the lesson objectives and student needs. Select appropriate resources. This initial phase focuses on gathering the necessary materials and aligning them with the intended learning outcome. So, careful consideration of student needs ensures the lesson is accessible and engaging. Next, we have lesson planning, writing the plan. So, this is the stage of writing the lesson plan following a given template. It would be better to plan your lesson ahead so that you can have enough time to revise your plan. You can plan for the 5 days in advance and revise daily your plan. You may think of planning a number of lessons to have time for revision. Yet, this is not advisable at the beginning of the year because you still do not know your students and thus you cannot identify what works better and how for them. So, the time you spend knowing your students can support you for more lessons in advance, mainly during the holidays, yet keep updating and mending your plan on the basis of students' reactions to previous lessons. So, to make your planning more effective, you need to have a template for your lesson plan. Here is my lesson plan, an effective template that you can show you clearly your lesson objectives and the process you need to go through to achieve them. You can also find instruction on how to write this lesson plan. So, for short, writing the lesson plan, this stage involves creating the actual lesson plan, typically using a structured template. A well-structured template helps organize the lesson components and ensures all necessary elements are included. It's advisable to plan several lessons in advance to allow for revisions, but this is less crucial at the beginning of the year when teacher-student dynamics are still developing. So, knowing your student better over time allow for more advanced planning, especially during the breaks or holidays. So, however, continuous adjustment based on students' feedback are crucial for effective lesson planning. So, next, we have the third stage, which is implementation. So, what is the implementation of a lesson? So, implementation is the process of identifying, incorporating, monitoring, and continually refining professional learning that helps educators enhance their practice and encourage and inspire students' academic and non-academic growth. So, implementation, this involves delivering the lesson, actively monitoring student understanding, and incorporating feedback for continuous improvement. So, the implementation phase isn't solely about delivering content. It also includes ongoing evaluation and adjustment. Effective implementation requires educators to remain flexible and responsive to student needs. So, the lesson doesn't end after your student complete a worksheet. The assessment section is one of the most important parts of any lesson plan. So, this is where you assess the final outcome of the lesson and to what extent the learning objectives were achieved. So, in most cases, the assessment will come in the form of a test or quiz. But assessment can also include in-depth class discussions or presentations. The assessment is a vital component of the lesson plan. It determines the effectiveness of the lesson by measuring the extent to which learning objectives were achieved. While tests and quizzes are common assessment methods, other approaches like class discussions and presentation can also provide valuable insights into students' learning. So, assessment isn't just a final step, it's an integral part of the entire learning process, informing future lesson planning and adjustment. So, that's all about my part and hope you learned something. Thank you for listening.
So good day everyone. So today we're going to discuss the lesson of chunking and the micro teaching basic. But before that, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Antoinette N. Bensal from BS Ed English 1B Study Hub number 2, member 5. So lesson chunking and micro teaching basics. So chunking teaching strategy. So first, let's begin explaining what is chunking. So chunking is the way of dividing large piece of information or text into smaller units or chunks to make an information easier to understand and process. So by using this strategy, you as a teacher can reduce a cognitive load on student and help them understand the topic using a bit of information one at a time. And also, chunking also give you a clear information about which portion of the topic is difficult for your student. So you can use a chunking for any length of content to enhance the learning processes of your student. So it has power to help student memorize a wide range of information like location, letter, words, or even music. So the step involved in chunking processes will depend on the information you wish to chunks. It could involve here the breaking big piece of content into smaller unit. Second, we have here identifying any pattern or similarity in the smaller chunks. So third, we also have organizing the information into different groups. And lastly, we have is collating similar group that one can study together. So chunking and teaching is a strategy for breaking down a large amount of information into smaller unit and more manageable unit. And also this reduces the cognitive load of the student, making learning easier for them by presenting information bit by bit. So teacher can assess which part of the student find difficult. So this method is applicable to various subject and content led. So aiding memorizations of diverse information like location, word, musical, and also the letter. So chunking strategy is very important. Why? Because chunking strategy is the most basic strategy for all the teacher and for all the students. So in this way, if we can use this chunking strategy as a teacher, our student can learn easily, and also they can learn a different kind of information and topic by bit. And also in chunking strategy, they can memorize a different kind of information easily, like the music, letter, location, and also the words. So chunking strategy is the most important strategy for all the teacher. So the process of typically involved in chunking strategy is the breaking down content. So dividing a large piece of information into smaller. And also we have here the identifying pattern, like I read earlier, the identifying pattern look for a similarity or relationship within the smaller chunkings. So and also we have here the organizing information. So organizing information, it is groupings related chunks together. And lastly, the collating group. So collating group, it is the combining similar group for efficient study. So why should you use the chunking as a teaching strategy? Why? You know why we need to use this one? Basically, chunking content into smaller manageable pieces is a great way of teaching new topic. So the student can drive a host benefit of strategically break down in your content into smaller chunks. So here are the few notable benefits to reduce memory load. So as a future educator, I will ask you this question. Why should you use a chunking as a teaching strategy? Why? Because this chunking strategy is the most basic strategy in teaching that we have. So chunking strategy is the most easier for all the students. So it can make their learning easier. So chunking content into smaller manageable piece is a great way of teaching new topic. So student can drive host of benefit if you strategically break down your content into smaller chunks. So we have here a few notable benefits to reduce the memory load of the student. First is help students synthesize information easily, and also help them to identify difficult words and phrases. Third is make it easier for them to understand the idea and keyword in a better way. And lastly, we have here enhance their ability to comprehend and paraphrase the content. So first is improved synthesis. So improved synthesis, student can more readily combine smaller piece of an information to complete or to form the complete sentence. Second, we have here identification of difficulties. So identification of difficulties, chunking a highlight area of confusions such as the difficult word, phrases, allowing for targeted review and clarification. Third, we have here enhanced comprehensions of key ideas. By focusing on smaller unit, student grasps course, concept, and keyword more effectively. And lastly, we have here improved paraphrasing. So improved paraphrasing, a stronger understanding of the materials, facilitate the ability to rephrase its own word. So this chunking teaching strategy, it improved memorization by simplifying information, processes, and retention. So this achieved the thoughts better synthesis of information easier, identification of knowledge gaps. So it also improved the comprehensions of core concept and enhanced the paraphrasing skill of the student. So this teaching strategy of chunking can help student to memorize easily and also can help student to understand a different kind of word and also paraphrasing skills. So if we use this strategy, we can help our student to simplify the word and also to paraphrase a different kind of sentence. We also have here the tips to use the chunking method. So assess the learner knowledge before you chunk a topic into smaller sections. So try to assess your student knowledge of the subject. So assessing prevent you from being repetitive and also allow you to build what the student already know. And also it will save your time and energy and give the student something new to learn. So before you implement this chunking teaching strategy, first thing that you need to do is assess your student prior knowledge of the topic. So this prevent unnecessarily repetitions and allow you to build upon existing understanding and also save time and ensure the student are presented with the new and relevant information. So this chunking teaching strategy can help us teacher or future teacher to save time and also can help our student to understand a different kind of concept or a different kind of topic easily. So this strategy or teaching strategy can help us teacher to teach our student how to memorize easily. And also this strategy, it will not only benefit to us, teacher or future educator, it also benefit to our learners or to our student because in this way they can learn easily. So that's all for my topic. I hope you understand and I hope you learned something, especially when it comes to teaching strategy. So again, this is Antoinette M. Bansal from BS Ed English, Section 1B, Study Hub number 2, Member 5.